All right, welcome back, Pokemon Go players, to another episode of the Purified podcast. Today is April 5th, 2023. I am your host, Luis Palacios, with my co-host, Chris.
Hey, it is your boy, Pokemon Trigger, please, and it's been a fun week. Is that a way to word it? Fun?
I can't even say it was interesting. It's just been and sorry for my French, a shit show for the last few days.
I agree.
Yeah, no, definitely. Oh my goodness, there's definitely some things that we're gonna talk about in today's podcast that has been a talk of the community. I mean, if you've literally been living under a rock, I would think that things have really been bad for a lot of different cases. Also, thank you, Kiki, for actually joining us. But yeah, it's I don't know how to describe this week. It's just been one thing after another that I just can't imagine that it's good or bad depending on how you look at it. You know?
Yeah, kind of like a boulder.
Yeah, it's just one of those things in the end of the day. However, there is, a few things to talk about. We definitely will have our thoughts and feelings about the changes that the game is happening. Definitely things that we believe could be good, could be bad. I know that me and Chris probably has vastly different opinions on a lot of different things in the end of the day. And it just comes to show that we're basically dedicated. However, let's first and foremost recap our week before we really get into the nitty and gritty of these things. Because it's going to be something to talk about for the rest of the podcast today. We actually don't have a lot of news today, so that's good. We have a few things to talk about. But the one bigger news is definitely going to be the one that's going to take everything. However, we're here once again to talk about Pokemon Go news, updates, and ranting about the game because we love the game just as much as everybody else. Thank you so much, Chris. Don't forget to check us out at the Pokemon Professor Network. Oh, shoot. I guess my... I had a Stream Deck working, and now it doesn't. So now I got to click through things. So here it is, guys. Go ahead and check them out. Make sure you... go through, their website and everything. Wonderful people to work with every single time. So a wonderful family to work with every single time. So before we begin, I do have 3 eggs, 2 kilometer eggs hatching. So hopefully I get something good. That's an Eevee. It does have something. Another one. Well, not another Eevee, but just that. And a Mushlex. Okay. I mean... It's okay, but it's not the ones I'm looking for. That even could have been the Hondo, but of course it wasn't.
Yeah, every Munchlax gets me pretty hyped right now.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. Short, yes, Raid Hour was short. We'll talk about that in a minute too. But yeah, I guess we should probably recap a couple of things here, Chris, since, again, it has been a shit show, and I probably keep saying that the entire time this podcast goes around. So how about you start us off this week?
All right. It's been a pretty good week, honestly. A lot of fun events that just started. I'm trying to remember. I think I only got one shiny since our last podcast.
Okay.
I think the last one we had was on Sunday?
Wasn't last Sunday. It was like, I don't know, a week before that. I don't know.
Maybe month. I don't know.
It was before the end of the month, so it's been like a good chunk of days.
Yeah, I only got one shiny, but it was a shiny Purloin, so I can't really complain.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you end up needing it in the future, I got you.
I gotcha.
But yeah, that's all I got.
That's good. Nothing else. No PvP stuff. Anything.
No. Not really. I would like to trade some Volibes with you later on this week because people have been wrecking me in Little Cup with them.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
I don't know why I like Little Cup.
You said Volibes?
Yeah, they got to be like really low CP.
I do have a couple of Volbeats, yeah. Yeah, I got a couple that I can trade. A couple of 98s and a 96, and not my shiny though.
Oh, the bird. Sorry.
Volibee.
Yeah.
Do I even have any? I don't know.
I
got a few. I don't think they're the Hondos because mine is evolved already. Yeah, I could trade a few.
It's not the most common one to get under 500. Kind of like kind of like Bisharp, but it is a fun one.
Yeah, it is definitely a fun one to use, anyways. When it comes down to it, but I mean, we hatch those out of topic AX anytime, anyway. So, like, it's the most common Pokemon to hatch, anyways. Anyways, so also yes, I was lucky to get that task, sack. So don't worry about it. Let's see, Hondos. I don't think I actually got any Hondos this week and a half. Yeah, Pampor was the last one, so I am unfortunately Hondoless for this podcast this week. Surprisingly, I know.
Are you the real pure letter? No.
I don't know, but it is what it is. I did get a couple of shinies though, so it's actually pretty good. I know I talked about the Corphish and the Snubble, so that's pretty good. That was way before the events ended. I did get
What the
2
heck?
Starlies. During that one event, the April Fool's event that we'll talk about in a second. But that was like, what? Why? But I did hatch a shiny Bonsley.
Okay.
All right. I mean, I'll take any shinies when it comes down to, especially from hatches.
It's a pretty one.
Yeah, Mystic 7 hype, or no? And I can execute from the spotlight hour this Tuesday. So yeah, that's my haul. Really, nothing much to compare about it either. So
Yeah, not bad.
not bad. Small but short. And again, it's just been a kind of like an insane week anyway. So
That's a really chunky shiny execute too. I just saw.
yeah,
It's like 900 CP.
Yes, 952 CP. Chunky. It doesn't even have the good IVs. It has some decent IVs, but it's chunky. Anyways, yeah, so let's recap a little bit of the gameplay of last week. We came off of the Let's Go event, Habanella Spawns. We are now into the Spring into Spring event, which, it just started like yesterday, so that's pretty good, I guess. We also have April Fools. Our Pokemon Go really likes actually making April Fools in Pokemon Go in some ways. I mean, take us back to the days where we actually had the 8-bit sprites. That's probably the best April Fools ever.
Easily the best one, and they barely had to do anything for it.
Right. Like all it requires that to just look at the game. That's all. We also have Purified released into the wild for the first time. Little Buckster, it's out there. Nothing really to compare. It's just a dex entry at this point. We do have a collection challenge, which I will finish once I evolve one of the cutie flies. So that's interesting too. Then after that, I don't know. That's it, right? That was everything that we did. We didn't really have any major events last weekend either, so I don't know if there was anything much about that. However, I guess we should probably get into the research topics of today, because that's something definitely a topic of interest for everybody who's actually here or listening to the podcast today.
Is it okay if we recap the April Fool's event really quick?
Yeah. I guess you good idea. I mean, I don't know why I just fully skipped through it.
No, you're good. You're good.
March 31st, they announced that April Fool's Day, Pidgeot Pandemion, was the April Fool's this year. I guess we had an emergency of Pidgeys everywhere, which it looked like it was just only 30% of the spawns anyways. When this happened, of course, on April 1st from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. local time, the wild encounters was Pidgey, is Shiny Chance, and XX small and XX large encounters during the event. So that was interesting. We do had a special research that if you claim you get some stuff. Pretty simple. Field reach stacks will encounter Pidgeys, and the bonus was to have an increased chance of getting XX small and XX large. Yeah, that's the event.
Yeah, I don't know how it held up. I saw some people talking about it on Twitter, comparing it to the other year's April Fool's events, and like how like we had like Shiny Murkrow released for the first time one year, a bunch of Krogunk spawns another year, that 8-bits that we loved. It was a weird event, but I will say the one shining part it had about it was the story. I actually chuckled when I was reading Professor Willow talking about how all the Pidgeys got out from his enclosure. I was like, what the heck is going on?
So all the Pidgeys that we literally transferred to the Pokemon were in an enclosure that Professor Willow had the entire time.
He loves his Pidgey, man.
Oh my god. I
That's
guess
why we haven't seen him in forever,
I
man.
guess I guess
Professor Willow's been guarding him.
yeah, I guess that's the joke because in the end of the day, Peaches was the only thing that we would transfer back in the day. And evolve and transfer, evolve and transfer, evolve and transfer. So it was just like everywhere. So
Yeah.
I guess it is a little bit fun if you think about it, if you think it a little bit more, but it was just a little lackluster event just to celebrate April Fools, which really didn't help with what announced before that, but so
That's fair.
but it's still one of those things. And yeah, I guess I'm glad that you enjoyed it, Chris. I wasn't really playing during those hours. I did do the research and then finish it up, and it was done for me.
Yeah, I was pretty minute, but I will say I'd probably give it like a 7, maybe a 6.5. Like it wasn't bad, but when you compare it to the other ones, I don't know how much it holds up.
I'll take it with just a simple 5 if they just want to go ahead and did something about it. I guess the ability to get XX small and XX large. I guess that's the new chase of this game. Just getting a shiny XX small, XX large in the end of the day. So
Yeah.
if you're really looking for it, then yeah, that's the point. But still not something that I want.
Yeah, for a Pidgey,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Also, the Pharisee just spawned in my house. Maybe it's a shiny. No.
That'd be hype, man.
That'd be hype. But yeah, so that was the April Fool's event. Spring is right now. It's already here and to stay for a little bit longer. We have eggs and all that's happening. So hopefully you guys get your shiny Riolus. What is that? And that is that's a Whisper. Never mind. Anyways, I thought it was something better.
What is that?
I know, right? Today's research topic. So let's get into this because again, it is the biggest controversy topic that we have in Pokemon Go history since the introduction of it. So all right, so we've been alluded it, but at the same time we really need to talk about this. It is now time for Niantic to change how things work in Pokemon Go. And the first thing that they are going, well, technically is I think it's the last thing out of everything that was announced and was changed back when 2020 was a thing, is the remote raids. Now, we knew this was coming for a long mile away, probably literally from the sunset of the sunrise to the sunset of it. Remote raids are going to be nerfed, and this is the announcement that Pokemon Go tweeted out, posted it, blog post, whatever the case may be. And of course, this happened actually a couple of days before April Fool's, so we knew it was an April Fool's joke. And unfortunately,
yeah, I was like praying. I was like, as soon as I saw people posting, I was like, yeah, it's a little early for an April Fool's joke, isn't it, Niantic?
That's right. Hey, Justin. How you then? Just Will. Or Justin? Just Will. Will. Thank you for joining us. Anyways, so remote raids, trainers. And I'm probably just going to talk to the full blog post as it is because this is very important information for anybody. Justin, thank you. Trainers, we want to give you a heads up about the changes coming to Pokemon Go remote raid passes. These changes are designed to rebalance the game and ensure it's enjoyed by trainers for years to come. The changes will go into effect April 6th of 2023 at 11 a.m. PDT. So 11 a.m. is what, 1 o'clock for our time? At 12? 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock our time. Yeah. So first and foremost, the very first thing that they announced was the price adjustment to the remote rates. The price of remote race pass 3-pack will increase to 525 Pokecoins. The price of single remote raid passes will increase to 195 Pokecoins. I'm sorry. And a premium battle pass 3-pack will be added to the shop at a price of 250 Pokecoins. Then, and again, we'll go over the whole thing piece by piece and how I feel. Remote raid participation limits. Trainers will be able to participate in a maximum of 5 remote raid per day. This maximum may change and or increase for special events. They only say and increase, not and or, but I think it's gonna either happen regardless. Remote raid passes. So the remote raid passes will be included in the pool of potential rewards for research breakthrough boxes.
Okay.
Remote raid passes earned via research breakthrough boxes will still be subject to the existing inventory limit of 3 remote raid passes per trainer. If a trainer earns a remote raid passes through the research breakthrough box, while at the 3 raid remote pass limit, they will receive a premium battle pass instead. Purchase of a remote raid pass 3 packs will still allow you to hold up to 5 remote raid passes if purchased with a 2 remote passes already in your inventory. So the same thing that we always have been doing. And then another change was the Candy XL. Trainers who participate in 5-star raids in person will earn more Candy XL than before. And this is what they have to say about these changes. Very small, very introductional. Since their introduction in 2020, the remote raid passes have come to dominate the experience of playing Pokemon Go in a way that we never intended. Rewarding trainers with additional Candy XL and adding other new features are 2 of the ways we hope to further incentivize playing Pokemon Go in person with your friends, family, and community. We plan to keep remote raid passes as a part of Pokemon Go. However, we believe this change is necessary for the long-term health of the game, and we do not make it lightly. We feel this is a necessary step towards our goal of preserving and improving the unique experience of playing Pokemon Go, a game that we hope to continue to enjoy long into the future. End quote. So, there's a lot to talk about here. We're going to break it piece by piece and how the community has really reacted. I'm also going to actually look for the blog post that they actually talked about. I guess I should probably go to Twitter and Pokemon Go Hub. I think they probably have it. But let's go ahead and start with the first part of the announcement, which is the price adjustments. So just as we mentioned, the bundle will increase to $525, and the regular single pass will be increased to $195 Pokecoins. We'll also have, of course, the bundle of regular passes for 250 Pokecoins. So basically, what we had before when Remote Race actually came out, the bundle of 250 for 3 raid passes or remote raid passes, it will now be the regular pricing for regular raid passes or in-person raid passes. While everything else changes. Now, Chris, I want to get your opinion on this while I get looking for the information. But how do you feel about this in general, in all the sense?
So my main thought is something that conjoins with the price and the limit.
Right.
So I'm hoping per se that because they're putting a limit of 5 and increasing the price, I don't think that's something they should have changed both at the same time for. So I'm kind of hoping this is their way of ripping off the Band-Aid, and they're going to change the price to be cheaper in the future.
Right.
That's just my 2 cents.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't, I understand, I suppose, because I mean we've been saying since day one that remote passes were never meant to replace them. Don't get me wrong, everyone loves them. They're great. You can raid from literally anywhere, and you're not at risk of getting your game taken away.
True.
But yeah, I really would. I would really see Niantic lowering the price back to what we were used to on remote passes, and then still letting us do the 5 per day, because this is a pretty dramatic change to bring it up to $525 for a 3-pack.
Yeah, this is actually a incredible price change. One that we really were not expecting. We were hoping that maybe just a 50%, or not even a 50%, just like a 50 coin increase on regular passes, and maybe have it like around 400 coins for the bundle. Mm-hmm. That would make it a little bit like at least a slightly better change when it comes down to it. However, almost doubling it has really not helped how things has gone, and especially because you're literally only 5 coins away from literally having a double pricing on it, which really, really, really sucks for everybody. But I think and I have to be careful with how I say this because I know the community is at large rage, however they see it, and all that stuff. It's more like I just feel like it was necessary to do this type of change, but at the same time, not to this extent.
The way they're going about it, yeah.
Right. It just doesn't feel that it's right that they're increasing something that, I mean, I understand that it had to increase it, but I don't understand why it had to be for this much, you know? Now, of course, they are trying to balance it out with giving us the premium battle pass 3-pack for 250, which is a huge deal because you're literally getting 3 passes for the price of, 2.5. So it's not too bad when it comes down to it. However, I don't think the balance is scaling to the incentive, the in-person more than the remote, regardless. Now, a lot of people really do say that this is actually also a little bit helpful. And don't get me wrong, this is the worst of the internet because, again, I've been trying to scour the internet of what's going on in the world. It's more like if this is not... If this is the way they wanted to do it, is to really incentivize or stop people for spending so much on remote rating. And trust me, unlimited remote rating, unlimited ways of actually getting it was huge. It's huge until tomorrow, hopefully. Or not hopefully, but you'll see what it goes.
We don't want your money.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like they're increasing it. They're making people actually have to buy the more chunk of the change. Well, you can just go ahead and go in person and just pay for the same price that you'd be doing it. Of course, there's a lot going on when it comes down to it that just doesn't make sense. But I don't know. It still feels that it's not right to increase it for this much. A small increase would have been fine. It's just, I don't know. I'm still feeling a little bit off about that. However, the biggest part that people are really, 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 really concerned and, of course, really, really mad about is the limit. So, as Spence stated before, trainees will only be able to participate or will be able to participate in a maximum of 5 remote raid per day. Now, when we had the small little leak right after the Las Vegas Gold Tour, and they say we had a limit, some people were actually saying, instead of saying, oh, we're going to have 6 per day. And people lost their minds to the beginning to end. They had to take away that out of it because they were just like, it blew up. It just blew up in a way that people just didn't want to. But of course, people were just so mad about it. So even if it was just a leak, we knew it was coming. However, we didn't think it was going to be this restricted when it came down to it. And this is where I'm going to hand it off to you, Chris. Is this good or bad how you look at how they're, limited us this way?
So I've been thinking about it, and I do think that having remote passes kind of makes it so personal communities kind of have a hard time thriving. We can mostly blame it on COVID, but when all that jazz was going on, we were not in person. We were not thriving. We were not talking really. Just sending remote passes to everyone and hoping they join. But on the other hand, it's very bad for the rural players that don't have anyone to raid with in person. They they basically gotta hop on PokeGenie and try and grab 5 people on there now. I feel like I don't know how else they're gonna complete the really hard raids, especially when you need good raid counters for them. Like Lugia is not the easiest of raid battles. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure people trio and quad it, but the majority of players probably can't.
Right.
So I do feel bad for the people that can't raid with in-person groups, because they're definitely the people that are hurting most from this change.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, locally, I don't think this is a horrible change. Don't get me wrong, Purelighter and I, we love using remote raid passes, but from a community standpoint, I do understand where at least they're coming from on that front.
Yeah.
I'm mostly thinking too about new players. because none of them would know how to use, or have anyone added for that matter to do the remote passes. So their only chance would be, I guess, like googling it up online for like raid groups.
Yeah. So
But yeah,
there's a lot of
if they're just doing
layers.
in-person raids, then hopefully they can hop in a raid that way. But that's just all the different jumble I've been
Yeah.
thinking about for it.
Yeah, and it's quite alright when it comes down to it. Like your opinion is it's definitely what we'll see how this change really affects everybody. It affects everybody. It doesn't even matter if it's rural or or disabled or anything like that. It affects everybody. It doesn't matter. Everybody will actually be affected by this. There's no incentive for but yes, just like you said, there is a good chunk of the community that will basically suffer because of this change. We know that at least when it comes to a shiny legendary Pokemon, the odds are 1 in 20. So unless they're planning of increasing that odds, then 1 in 5 every day is really not going to pan out. And even then, I mean, I done like 50 raids, and sometimes I don't get the shiny until literally the last
Yeah,
one, anyways.
yeah. I was
So
gonna say, how many people have done like twice the odds that
and
it's supposed to be, and they
right,
just don't get the shiny.
right now, of course, again, I keep saying that this has a lot of layers, and to really go about it is looking at the players who has a community, players who don't have a community but are able to go to those communities. There are the rural players, like we mentioned. There are the disabled players, and there's everybody else in between, the casuals, basically. When it comes down to it, I as I know it still sucks because there's a lot of incentive for people who actually want to do like things like Master League or Max Out or Legendary, and those are just a niche that you really cannot comprehend. People always need to have the hundo. There's no like level capping or anything like that. There's no adjustments to the level when it comes to battling or things like that. But the more I see it, it's just the more I think that this is a convenience being taken away. Just the reason that we have it since 2020, we have been able to literally just sit at home out of our own convenience to go ahead and do remotes from anywhere in the world. I know some people really benefit from it, and we will never diss out those players because in the end of the day, they are very part of the community too. But it is a convenience that was given to us by means of how the world was really looking at. And even then, and somebody pointed it out in in a Twitter space that we were watching on Sunday. Somebody pointed out that yes, remote raids are here, but they're not here to stay, or at least they're not here. They were thinking of doing changes since the very beginning. And even somebody pointed out, do you remember when remote raids first came out, and you couldn't really you had to be in person, or at least one person had to be in person to do the raid, and then invite everybody else. They changed that throughout. That I don't even think I even noticed at that point. But you can also, later you could remote into that raid and then invite people afterwards. So that change was something for the better because again, the world was in chaos of how things were going, but they were making changes for the better. But it was again not what they intended to from the very beginning.
I will say, just to play a little devil's advocate, that when they were putting it in during COVID, they already pretty much were going to add remote passes. I think they kind of rushed them out because of COVID, but it is interesting that they were already in the works during that time period. So I'm kind of curious if this is the kind of thing they would have had in place back then.
Well,
for the limits and everything.
yes and no. I want to say that your thankful hat of how they were thinking of remote raid passes for a long time. I mean, we had EX raids, we had regular passes, we had raid hours, we had all those things still. Elite raids were not even a thing back then, and technically this is supposed to fix elite raid or EX raids, but that's not the point. But I get what you're going for. I believe it was in the works. I don't think it was something that they wanted to push for a while, for maybe a long time, really. Because, the Pokemon Go back in 2019 and any years before that, it was just, you gotta go out. You gotta meet your community. You gotta make sure that you're building those communities, and those communities will thrive the way that it were. Will Pokemon Go would have been the same if COVID didn't hit? Maybe not. I mean, there's definitely incentive. There was a lot of things that was pushed back because of COVID. Even Pokemon Sleep was pushed back, and now we finally got it after 3 years. So we'll be getting it after 3 years. But that's not the point. The point is that, what is this limit correct? Is this what is intended to be regardless? Now, even in their blog post, they said, and I'll read it again, just word by word, it's like, remote raid passes have come to dominate the experience of playing Pokemon Go in a way that we never intended to. And that's true. They never intended to really give us so much flexibility to remote any legendary, any Pokemon that we wanted to, at a cost of measly just 100 Pokecoins or anything like that, and do it as unlimited as you wanted to, because you could literally just raid anything in the other side of the world and nothing would happen anyways. You can get regionals that you usually wouldn't get, and things like that happens anyways. It was just never intended to be that way. Pokemon Go, since back then, was always an exploration game. It's supposed to go out. So the only problem that I really see here is the people who were really introduced into Pokemon Go since 2020 and when these changes were implemented. We know for a fact that, from anybody who has played from 2016, we know how things were supposed to be from the very beginning. Are we in denial because of this is going away? Probably. But at the same time, it just feels like, at least for me, it doesn't really change the way that I play, regardless of how this is going. Now, don't get me wrong, I still want to get, my Hondos, my Legendaries, my XL Candy, especially now that XL Candy is a huge thing. But even before, we barely had to do, 5-10 raids a day, like a week at best. And that only increased because raid hour was a thing. Mm-hmm. So it's not like it really changes the way that I play. It's there. It's still convenient. It's expensive as F. But it's still going to be a chance to do it. Now, of course, how we're going to shift from what we have now to what is going to happen after tomorrow. How is the community really going to feel like? How is they're going to adjust? How they're going to really look at things from here on out? I'm
really interested.
Even the content creators, who has time and time again also tried to make sure that Pokemon Go always stays on top of things, they're really struggling too. Mystic 7, he's going to lose a lot of cool challenges in his videos or anything that he does on Twitch. He even says so himself. He may not even stream on Twitch anymore, because remote raids was the only thing that was keeping him basically there for the entire time while talking to his chat. There was something with Brendan 10 that I haven't seen yet. I really need to see that video. But, Trainer Club, Pokemon Master Holly, even Zoe 2 does and Trainer Tips, they're like, this is not the biggest change, the biggest, the strongest decision that Niantic has done. It has been probably one of the most negative that people has received in a long time. I just, at least in my perspective, and I might be in one of the minorities here, I just don't think that Pokemon Go, or at least the community, is so, I don't want to say lazy, because it's not the right word. It's more like, I feel like they're so, I don't know. Chris, can you really?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a word for it. I think I know what you mean.
Right.
But yeah, and time again, I keep hearing it's impossible for any in-person bonuses to, to get past the convenience of a remote raid pass.
Right. And that's completely fine.
That is what it is. It's a convenience for sure. It is really hard to beat that.
Right. And again, I just feel like the community is just acting in a way that they just don't think for the bright side. It's like, we have gone through so much in the last 7 years, more difficultly in the last 3.5, because of everything that's going on. we stayed strong. Niantic and the Pokemon Company had to make some hard decisions back then to make sure that this game specifically had to thrive, and it's still alive because of that. But it's time to move on. It's time to change. We knew this was coming. It knew that no matter how much you look at it, it was going to end at some point. Now, it's not fully ending because they even said we'll keep remote raids as part of Pokemon Go, but it's not something that we want to focus our efforts on because it's already almost perfect.
Yeah, it kind of feels like they're just ripping off the Band-Aid. They
Right.
might change things in the future to make it so we can do more, but I really think they're testing the waters in like almost the worst possible way. They could have limited it more, to be honest.
And that's true.
Five is pretty low, in
Even
my opinion. Though
I
when they
think
got the
that no
20
matter
shiny
what the
gem.
limit would have been, I don't think no matter what the limit would have been, people were still would have been pissed.
Uh, yeah, because I can't see like there's almost no point to make the limit like 20 in my eyes.
Yeah. There's
Then it's like, is it a limit really? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure people do above 20, but the vast majority don't.
I don't think more than 1% of the community does more than 20 raids per day. And I know there's a lot of people who do that, but you know they thrive through that, but that doesn't mean anything in the end of the day. It's that small percentage really gets defeated by everything else that happens in the game. And again, remote raids or even raids in general, they're not the only fundamental part of the game. It's not supposed to be the only fundamental part of the game. We still have other features that the game can offer. It's just that it was more convenient at the time. It's just, it doesn't make Pokemon Go as a whole. Remote raids in general are not the only thing in the game. It's not going away. It's just being limited. Now, I know that a lot of people are probably going to say, oh, you don't know my struggles. I'm like, yeah, I don't know your struggles. I will
That is
probably
true.
never know your struggles until it happens to me. But I'm not saying that you and I, just because you and I are different, we're both players. You just have it more difficult than I do. And I 100% acknowledge that. Especially people who really don't have the choice of what they're doing. You just have to adjust your gameplay. I'm not saying that I'm going to change your mind, because I know a lot of people will never change their mind when it comes down to this. But it's not because the game is not going away. The way that you rate is not going away. It's just going to be changed dramatically from here on out. And at the same time, if you don't like it, then don't do it. Or don't play. I don't know what to say.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, as long as you can still have fun playing the game, then I don't think there's a huge issue.
Right.
I'm very interested to see how everyone's gameplay changes after this change.
That's my biggest hope for the community these days. It just hopefully Niantic will see it. We'll see how we really are changing the game, even with the limitations that they're putting on us. Which, again, we'll say this time and time again, it sucks. It really, really sucks. But it shouldn't be the only thing that we enjoyed about Pokemon Go regardless. So, that's my take on it, at least when it comes down to the limitations. Just like they mentioned, they will be increasing it during special events. So maybe Go Fest or Go Tour, any other types of events where they want to make sure that you will get the nice little chunk of unlimited rate when you can do it. I'm not saying they will be unlimited. They say they will increase it. They never said they will be, changed to unlimited at that point. So don't expect to say you'll be able to rate 20,000 Rayquaza or Mega Rayquazas just because they allowed you to. So keep in mind, for now, or at least the way that we look at it, Niantic has set in stone this change, and it's gonna happen tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. Whatever you are in the world, really, it will change. It will happen. So, I do like that at least they are giving us the choice of the chance of earning a free remote raid pass at the convenience of the breakthrough box, which was also part of something back in the day when we had either the 1 coin box for the remote raid, or even when it was actually in research breakthrough boxes, it was guaranteeing those too for like a good month or something. So it's still, you're still able to technically get it for free, and it could be a luxury item, just like, you know, Elite's TM. You can only hold 3, but that doesn't mean that you will not use 3 by the time the next one comes around. If it does come around, you know. At that point, you, of course, have to adjust your gameplay to be a little more... an Axio. An Axio in my house.
Log into my account. No,
no, right? And a Chansey, too. So I'm on
Oh, my.
So. Anyways, but I was saying, you may have to adjust the way that it's played in some ways, but... Even spending the money on it, I'm not saying you should, because I know a lot of people say it's like, oh, it's all about the money. They're literally cutting the revenue right here, right now, the moment they announce this. Because now people are like, I'm not going to raid forever. Well, you're not going to raid at all then? Like, I don't get this, you know? I'm not going to give any money to them. I'll speak with my wallet. I'm like, cool. The game is free. What's that going to change? As long as you come on and play, that's when it changes. The only thing that really hurts it is if you don't play the game. If you don't open the game, that's the difference. There you go. That's your solution to your whining. Just don't play the game. And as harsh as that may sound, that's the only way that you're really going to hit Niantic where it hurts. But people are going to play. We're going to play. So... until we can't. So that's the only differences. Regardless, the community is an outrage.
I'll just say I'll be playing no matter what. Don't get me wrong, love remote passes, but with or without them, I'm still playing.
Yeah,
like,
and
it doesn't matter.
Right. That's really how I see it too. I'm not gonna stop anybody for what they want to do to say that they want to. You missed something, you feel like I missed something. You missed a lot. Don't worry about it.
Nothing remotely interesting.
There was actually a tweet from Cabo Hat Caterpie, Mike.
I think I know what you're talking about.
He tweeted out to the, I think, Good Tires, and he says like, we're gonna see you on this day. And the tweet, returning tweet, was like, hey, unfortunately we'll not be able to attend in person to this place. And unfortunately, we have run out of remote bleeps for the day. And I'm just like, that's that's the greatest student ever, you know. But yeah, so as I was going to finish up, at least in this point, the community is an outrage. They have put out another hashtag here as Niantic on Twitter, Reddit, or any other places you usually go to. They have a petition going on saying, please save remote raids. I don't even know if that's the wording for it, because they're not going away. They're not ending remote raids. They're just limited it. But yeah, we stand to say that this is, at least in my perspective, that my heroes Niantic, at least in my perspective, would be, I need more communication from Niantic. The part that pisses me off the most, aside from the small little things they have give us, the developer interview that they had, which I haven't even talked about that, but you know, we'll probably skip it over depending on how much longer we have. And then the blog post itself, their transparency is that if remote race has been a core point of Pokemon Go that they did not intend to be, and hopefully with these changes that we'll see more legibility of the game in the future, and hopefully people will still play the game even if with those changes is. Now, don't get me wrong, I wish they would have done it a little bit different. Maybe incentivize a little more going out instead of limiting the way that we play things. But regardless, it was gonna happen. It was gonna change. We are already at the end game when it comes down to remote raids. Hopefully they see something. I will be glad to have Niantic at least speak up their mind a little bit more, instead of just keeping us in the dark for as long as they want to until the end of the day. And then one last thing, and before we actually move on, If you're the type of person that are so dedicated in this game that you want to set or want to send death threats to people in Niantic or anything like that, don't even play the game.
Yeah,
Because
I'm kind of surprised seeing that stuff.
if you are going to be that type of person, we don't want you in this community. We don't want you to be part of the community just because you think that you know what's best for this game. I will not tolerate that. That is the worst way of go about it and probably the most inhumane way of thinking about it. So don't do it. And if you do, have a nice life because we're never gonna ever see you ever again. So
Yeah, I feel like people, can't talk to Niantic directly. So whoever they can find that's associated with Niantic on Twitter, they just threaten them however they can because they think that's gonna win them a point somehow.
if anything, you just put yourself in a deficit that you're gonna get arrested regardless.
Yeah, what the community manager said was as soon as you threaten them, they just immediately say, "Yeah, you just lost your listening privileges. I'm not
Right.
not listening to you ever."
I'm not either. I'm not gonna listen to people like that. And you know, we have seen both the good constructive feedback that we have about these changes, and then we have seen the worst, the toxicity that when it comes to the type of people that play this game sometimes. And I just can't stand it. I can't. It's just, why are you this type of person? I don't understand. It's if you're that much dedicated, go somewhere else because I really don't want this energy here. Anyways, we're gonna move on. We really don't want to talk too much about that aside from that. So, the last little piece of news, of course, will be that Candy XL, the increased chance. They did mention this a long time ago. I guess we're having a more chance of getting Candy XL from the raids, for in-person raids. This is technically their balance of actually going forward to see if this change, how remote races are going to change. Now, we weren't earning that much Candy XL from, or even rare Candy XL from doing it remotely anyways. But even in person, I guess that type of change was a thing. Now, when they mentioned this, and this part of this, trainers participating in 5-star race in person will earn more Candy XL than before. The limit for us will always have been 3 to 5 through 6. If you had a mega, maybe 7. But that means that every time you catch a legendary, you have a chance of earning, not even a chance, you actually will be earning more Candy XL per raid for 5-star raids. So legendary raids in general. That's a good change. I'm hoping to see more than just 1 out of the 3 that we usually get anyways. But we will only be able to tell once tomorrow comes and how things will go. So we'll have more news about that probably in the next podcast regardless.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Ragnarok.
Ragnarok. I like that, actually. That is a good way. Now, there was been one last update when it comes down to this. Pokemon Go Hub actually tweeted out this. And to a lot of the voices out there that usually tweets out more information about things. So Niantic has shared an update to the community leaders regarding XL Candy change and individual player data. Amounts of in-person Purified Candy XL drops will increase significantly, with the goal being that it makes per in-person race more lucrative for XL Candy, ensures continued and even wider participation in Master League. Okay. The intent is to increase Master League participation by making level 50 Pokemon more accessible and require far fewer raid passes than before to level them up. The number of remote raid requires to level up a single level Pokemon was significantly greater than in-person raids, at least with the respect to Candy XL, a direct result of large in-person XL Candy drops. I'm not understanding that a little more. And then,
that's making me think, you know how we get 3 guaranteed extra large for catching a legendary?
Yeah.
That's making me, okay, I at least hope, if they're trying to quote-unquote balance by making the in-person better, I'm curious if that means we're going to be getting like a good amount of extra large rare candy. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, and I think that's what they're going for. If the number is incredibly great, where it really incentivizes people to really do in-person raids, then a lot more people will be out, and it will require far fewer raids to do it. It could be even possible. I mean, I'm not saying it's completely possible, but it could be possible that you can earn a good 25 to maybe 30% of the XL candy that you need to level up a Pokemon during just one raid hour, or maybe 6 gyms, 6 legendary Pokemon, so long as you catch them, of course.
Yeah, I'm curious if it's going to be like regular rare candy.
Right. And that's another differences of why they want people to skew from being a remote raids in the end of the day. Because in remote raids, you only get your guaranteed 3, while in person raids, you can get a guarantee of way more of that. So if the increase is greater when you go in person, then at least the balance is shifting a little bit more to the in person for that reason. And just like Hamtaro says on the chat, it could be 10 XL per person. That's a lot. That's way more than you can get. Imagine that with a Mega. Will it be that? I don't know.
I don't know. If it's like rare candy, where it has that random drop, but you're pretty much guaranteed to get it if you do an in-person, like at least one, that means you're getting, at minimum, the 3 extra large of the Pokemon you catch, if you catch it, and then also the 1 added on. So effectively, you're already getting more with the Mega, obviously.
Right.
To get even more. So that's interesting.
Yeah, and that's what I'm really seeing it, how this change can actually be good for the community. So hopefully this actually incentivizes players to go out more. We'll see how it turns out. And again, Ragnarok will be a thing tomorrow, so we'll check it out when we get there. Whew! All right. Well, I didn't think this one little piece of news was gonna really take the whole thing, but we really had to.
It's a lot of heart.
Ah, my goodness! It's like basically everything that we have talked before now coming to fruition, and it's crazy anyway. So. Yeah, so again, if you guys want to talk more about this change and how our differences are and things like that, if you really want to, aside from the death threats, I don't want that. If you send me that, you're blocked immediately regardless. Just send us an email, Twitter, anything that you just wants to share your own point when it comes down to it. We'll see how it goes. So let's move on. And I guess we got to go a little bit faster when it comes down to this. Luckily, the last piece of news are really not that much to talk about, but we do have our confirmation of Regieleki in the next Elite raid. We are really hoping that this is actually not a bad thing when it came down to Regidrago. The only problem that a lot of people are seeing it is because it's on Easter.
Very sad.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll try to go to one of them. I'm not saying I am busy this weekend, this entire weekend actually. I have maybe a small window to do the 11 a.m. But then after that, I'm completely booked for the rest of the day, so I won't be able to do much. Now, if hopefully we can have Campfire more accessible to players, wouldn't that be better? Which is another thing that a lot of people are saying. If they would have actually released Campfire with this update to remote raids, there would probably could have been a little more leeway of how people were really talking about this.
Minute.
Minute, but still a great feature because
yeah.
It would be a great feature. Instead of relying to, third-party Discord services to find where people are going to be in remote raids and all that. So it is what it is. I know Niantic is trying his best when it comes down to it. So Regieleki is coming. We'll give you guys an update when it comes down to it. I don't know what I'm going to do, so I'll keep you, Chris, updated of where I'm going to be.
Thank you.
So.
Yeah, because I'll try to get one, but I don't think I'm going to be able to rate them like crazy either.
Yeah. Well, on Saturday, we'll at least be able to know where they're going to be spawning the most. So I'll see what I can plan, and then I'll just message you where I'm going to be. Okay. And then I guess we should talk about the latest event that's going to happen. As exciting as it may be. I don't know if it's really exciting, but we'll see.
Wow. The worst team.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
You're fired. Anyways. Trainers, help out Blanche during the A Mystic Hero event. So I guess they're doing this for one per month of the quarter. I don't know what it's saying. I don't know what that could
Yeah,
be.
maybe.
Could be.
Only because I noticed the Rising Heroes logo does have all three team colors in there too.
I wouldn't mind actually having one for each, but I will really see what Pokemon are gonna use for those kind of moments. So we'll see. However, are you ready to be a hero? I know I want to be a hero is kind of one of the cool songs out there for Pokemon, but you know. So, Blanche wouldn't think to ask others for help, but the Think Mystic leader could use some support. Get ready to enjoy an all-new event focused on research stacks and learning more about Pokemon evolution and Mystic Heroes. So when is this happening? On Thursday, April 13, which is next week, at 10 a.m. to Monday, April 17 at 8 p.m. local time. So it's short week, technically weekend event. So it looks pretty cool. Hey, Lotru, how you doing? Welcome. The event bonuses of this event: 2 times experience for evolving Pokemons. So save your Pidgeys. Lore modules activated during the event will last for 3 hours. We're not sure if this also includes gold lures. We have yet to confirm. And then the biggest part about it is 2 guarantee Candy XL for evolving Pokemons.
We gotta evolve all our legendaries, man.
I know, right? That would be amazing. That's interesting. This is actually a new feature of actually increasing the way that we can earn extra large candy. I don't know how good it is since, well, I mean, we technically have a week to prepare because tomorrow is Thursday and then this event starts next Thursday. So I think will be good. I mean, I would suggest just start saving the Pokemon that you really, really want to evolve and having ready for this guarantee XL candy for evolution kind of thing. I don't even know how it's going to work, but it's going to work, I guess. And then we also have a special research story, a Mystic Hero, that will award us with a way of encountering a Lapras wearing a Blanche team accessory, which it looks just like a bow. So, and if you're lucky, you may encounter a shiny one, if you're lucky. Field Research Task Encounters. The tasks focus on evolving and catching Pokemon will be available. Candidates can earn Stardust evolution items as rewards for completing this field research task. Hopefully there's a couple of encounters, ones for Lapras too, but we'll see. Time Research will be awarded a magnetic lure will be available throughout the event. And then they do mention a everyday hero. I guess they'll probably continue the quest that we have for the special hero event or the special hero thing. I don't know if it's the Let's Go one or not. I don't know. But that's it. This is how this event is gonna plan out. No special spawns, no special raids, no special eggs. Just a simple time, special, and field research tasks event. In general, it kind of looks like it's like a research day, but it's more like a research weekend.
Yeah, I do like story, so I don't hate it. But
my man likes the lore, the plot,
the plot,
the good plot, right? The very good plot.
2 plots, yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? I guess Lapras has a good plot, but you know. Anyways, when it comes down to it, this is just a really quick event. The Lapras with the bow, it's okay. At least with the little, like, I should say, Blanche accessory. It's dope. Whatever the case may be. That's how it is. Some people are just saying that it's nothing, but we'll see how it goes, you know. But yeah, that's really all that it is. I mean, I still will like always to catch a shiny Lapras, so I'm always okay with that. Just give me the Shando. Anyways. Yeah. But yeah, so let's quickly get into our PvP section. Get good, get wrecked. Here we go, Chris. So GBL. Also, we just have Lord Drew join us the chats. He is actually a GBL expert because he goes through all the GBL rankings. I think he has actually hit expert a couple of times. Expert? No, he has hit legends a couple of times.
This guy.
So
that's awesome.
Man. Shout out to Mr. Lord Drew in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us. We are not worthy because we really don't do that much GBL anyways.
Little cup ended.
Yes, but the Master League and the Spring event or the Spring Cup is here. Any thoughts? I mean, I'll be playing Master League.
Yeah, maybe I don't need your Volibee stuff. I was enjoying a Little Cup. I know people make the joke all the time. They're like, "Oh, I don't want to spend all this Stardust on making Master League Pokemon," and then you spend all the dust on like 392 dust, 1,000 dust
Right.
to make a Bronzor. But like, I already had one made.
I wanted to try
Um,
it, but I was like, I don't know. I was also very busy this week anyway, so.
yeah, it's interesting. The move brutal swing has definitely made it interesting. Looking at the Spring Cup, uh, I'm actually surprised to see Galarian Weezing is at the top of the meta. um, it's a very interesting meta. I have to play it to like learn it some. I
Right.
know people in the squad Switch Masters were telling a little bit about their team and what they were seeing led and everything. They said they were seeing a lot of Trevenant leads. So yeah, I definitely think I'm gonna be playing that instead of Master League. I'm not good at Master League right now.
Right.
I definitely need a coach,
Right. Right.
but yeah, it doesn't look like it's some bad PvP cups right now.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So. I don't know. I'm still going to try my hardest in Master League, but regardless, it is yeah, just like literally either play with baby Pokemons or play with whales. That's basically what it was. Cool, 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 cool. Let's get into some factions. How you been doing this last few weeks? I've seen some updates on Twitter though.
Um, I didn't play last week.
Oh,
But we've been getting paired against a lot of people we've battled before, which is very interesting. I
that's
do
cool.
like that.
Yeah. I mean, I know there was
Um,
a week where you barely scrap it, and then after that, there was a week that you got destroyed.
let me see. Cause yeah, I know we lost last week. I just wanted to see what the points were like. Yeah, that wasn't that bad. Cause the week before, which was the one I battled on, was 10-11.
Right?
And then this week was 9-12.
Ah,
So the team did fine. Don't get me wrong. Close losses, okay. And I think I mentioned that before. Because we're just mostly we have to keep our points high. Uh, so like we can do a 2-2 and still be pretty high up in the ranking, but we can't lose a lot of points
right.
when it comes to everything else. So that's interesting. But we're fighting against the Shadow Ballers this week. I'm on the sidelines again. That's okay.
Okay.
But I'm very happy in the squad. I cannot wait to see how they do, man.
That's good. That's good. Good luck, Switchmasters. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, I guess we have covered everything that we needed to, right, Chris? Do you have
Yeah.
anything else to say or anything? I know it's been a kind of like a hectic podcast because of how things are.
Um. Get your golden ghouls, get your golden modules, and I'd say try and use it as much as you can. Use it or you lose it, right?
True. True.
That's pretty much the only thing I have to say.
Well, I just want to end this on a note. I hope that regardless of how things are going to go moving forward, especially starting tomorrow, I hope that the community can really adjust. I want to see how the future is going to look because I know that this community is dedicated so much that if it doesn't feel like this type of change is really going to affect us, it will to a lot of players. I'm not getting me wrong, but I feel like we will come out of the end of this tunnel even stronger than before. I do feel that way because I have seen how this game can really thrive so long as the community is there to be part of it. Again, I'm not stopping anybody for making the decisions about how they feel about this game. I know that Niantic has been very, very, very quiet about when it comes down to things, and I wish they had more communication. But yeah, I really do feel like no matter how much bleak the future holds or the future looks right now, I really hope that it's not going to change how we really love this game for everybody, because we love the game. We love this game. We love all aspects of it. We want to always, continue talking about it, because this is a game, hopefully for as long as we can really hope for. And this podcast will always be here for that reason, anyways. So, but yeah, I'll leave it at that. And thank you so much for listening, everybody, to our stream today on Twitch. Also, thank you so much for anybody listening on any of the podcast services feeds: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio. Many of those places, if you can leave us a review, we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Find out or follow us on our social media, the Purified Podcast, anything Pokemon Go news related options. Pure Lighter Go for myself, Pokemon Trigger Please, that is PKMN Trigger Please with a Z at the end. Email us how you feel about this game, how you feel about anything, to the Purified Podcast at gmail.com. Join our Discord if you really want to. It is free for everybody. It's down in the description and anywhere you can find us here. Spotify, or what is Spotify? Well, Spotify is one of the podcast services. You know what I mean. And don't forget to check us out at thepurifiedpodcast.com, the Professor Network. So, with that being said, Chris, take us away for the night.
All right. If you guys have anything to say, we can keep it anonymous. We just want to know. Have a great evening. We very much appreciate you. Even if you're listening to it at any other time of the day, I still hope you have a good evening on that day. But we'll catch you guys next week, where hopefully we got even more news for you. And we'll talk about how the changes were implemented and how it changed the gameplay, because they should be going into effect tomorrow.
As of the recording of this podcast, so yes.
Yeah. So catch you guys next week. We appreciate you. See you guys next time. Peace out.
Keep purifying them, everybody, and we'll see you guys next week.